Here at the former World War II airfield, now Snetterton Circuit. It's round 3 for the Thundersport GB Championship 2016.
Welcome to Thundersport Elite then from Snetterton in Norfolk. It's round 3 of the Thundersport GB Championships for 2016. We started the year off at Brands, then to Donington, now to Snet. We'll be at Cadwell Park next, but we've got some racing action coming up for you. As you can see, a bit of rain here this morning at Snetterton. That's not unusual if you're a Norfolk resident. It is Dan Taylor here, number 26 though, that lines up on the front row. There is Johnny Towers, or is it Eddie the Eagle? I can't quite work out. Some smashing goggles underneath the visor there for Johnny Towers, some Elton John specials. So we've got a gap on the front row, slightly damp, but we've got some Stocktwins, some Supertwins out there. Oh, blimey, Keelan Irwin there, getting the power down, number 69 on that Aprilia, really spinning up the rear wheel and nearly went into the pit wall. As we head into turn 1, number 111, Aaron Bradley it is that has the hold shot into turn number 1. Aaron Bradley, one of our Stocktwin runners. There is number 28, just going through. It's Teo Papadopoulos, and that's Dan Taylor, of course, the Stocktwins, former Mini Twins champion of Thundersport GB, heading onto the back straight. Johnny Towers leads the Super Twins Championship overall. Johnny Towers number 17, ahead of John Simpson in the Stocktwins. Coming into this weekend, Aaron Bradley here on your screen was up ahead of Greg Madero, who is currently 3rd overall. He's just behind Keelan Irwin. A few more riders going through your picture there. Number 99 there was Lee Winters, known in the paddock as the Lion Tamer, into the bomb hole, and Easy does it. Horrible conditions really, not quite dry, not quite wet. Aaron Bradley it is that has the advantage then with this blue bike and the pink wheels, number 111, and that Ride It Lad Racing Suzuki. Then it's the Scott Motorcycles Aprilia of Keelan Irwin, followed by the Madero Racing Suzuki of Greg Madero. Here comes Keelan Irwin then, and in leads now. He's gone up ahead of Aaron Bradley. In 3rd place there is Dan Taylor. So Dan Taylor has got himself back in the frame again, the direct commercial Suzuki rider. He's quite familiar with the territory now in Thundersport GB, of course twice a champion, and familiar with a number of his competitors as well. He's been going from strength to strength over the last few years. The rider from Curtin Lindsay hangs out quite a bit with the Schofields from Barnsley, and so there he is in 3rd place with that red and yellow Suzuki. It's Keelan Irwin though on the Scott Motorcycles Aprilia that has the advantage. Keelan Irwin coming into this round 4th overall in the championship with a little bit to make up. 43 is Alex Platt on the Stamp End Garage Suzuki. Nice to see Alex out there always. Number 133 there is Ben Tolliday. That's another Suzuki rider. Johnny Towers, not seen too much from him so far other than his goggles on the grid. The Team Edge RST Kawasaki rider currently is just outside the top 6, so maybe not quite as comfortable with these conditions as the riders you're looking at on your screen. There's a change there for 2nd. Dan Taylor has now gone up into 2nd place. It's still Irwin here, the Irish rider that has the advantage overall. Number 69 from Donegal. And out there on that Aprilia 550. Of course, that is the bike that James Folkard won the championship on just last season. And that is the bike, just in 2nd, that won the Stocktwins Championship. Dan Taylor remains on his bike, of course. James Folkard is taking a year out, which is a shame. Really struggling with funds, but a talented, immensely talented rider, James Folkard from Liverpool, is having a year out of racing, but I'm sure we'll see him back soon enough. This is turning into quite a tasty battle out front between Irwin and Taylor. This is the battle for 3rd then, Aaron Bradley. Here he is just up ahead of Plateau, and a rear end wobble then from number 111, Aaron Bradley, and that allows Alex Platt through around the outside. Back to the front we go into Murray's. Keelan Irwin with the advantage, Dan Taylor in 2nd. You can see from the riding styles that conditions are not peak, shall we say. It's a good bit of slipstream there from Dan Taylor as he moves now into first place, down into turn 1. Nicely done then from Dan Taylor. He moves up ahead of the Irishman. And so it's now Taylor that leads from Keelan Irwin. A gap then back to Alex Platt, Aaron Bradley and Greg Medeiros. Further back, Papadopoulos, Towers, Neil Schofield, Ben Tolliday, Gary Rodwell and Lee Sylvan are all up there fighting in amongst the points. Here is number 121, James Field, one of our Royal Air Force Motorsport Association riders, one of many in the paddock for this season. Dan Taylor, since getting out front at Ritchie's corner, has just stretched out a few tenths now over Keelan Irwin. There is Neil Schofield just up ahead of Gary Rodwell and 133 Ben Tolliday. Nice to see so many stock twins out there this year. We've always had a decent Super Twins grid, but a lot more stock twins out there for this 2016 season with Thundersport GB. None that are able to get on terms with the reigning champion at the moment, Dan Taylor. So good lap that time around, a 22.6 for Dan Taylor. That's almost a good 7-8 tenths of a second he's eaten out of Keelan Irwin. So Irwin's going to have to find something here. There is Johnny Towers then, number 17. Perhaps just not quite comfortable in these conditions. It looks like he's just struggling a bit. He's won races in the wet before, he's won races many in the dry, but the in-between, maybe just trying to pick up as many points as possible. Dan Taylor's certainly not afraid of these conditions, and you would feel, I suppose this is a little bit stereotypical of me to say, but Keelan Irwin, hailing from Ireland, has probably raced more than once or twice in the slippery conditions. As just in the background there, we saw a bit of a slide from one of the stock twin riders. Here is Dan Taylor then, onto the start-finish straight. Just putting a lap on Dean Ratcliffe, and the last lap flag is out. He has a look under his arm there to see how far behind Keelan Irwin is. Now, I'm not even sure if from that angle he would have seen where Keelan Irwin was, because Keelan was sort of hugging the pit wall. So does he maybe think he's got a bigger lead than he has got? And again there, he looked around and saw the back marker. So, well, we'll see. It's the last lap. Heading into turn 1. There was 85 Shelley Pike, and here is Johnny Towers, the championship leader as we entered the round. There's Neil Schofield, and then Ben Tolliday. So on this final lap, looks like Dan Taylor should have everything under control. Not too long left for him as Towers goes around Chapman Curve and onto the back straight. He'll be just praying to see the checkered flag at the moment in this race. There is Dan Taylor then as we head now into the bomb hole. He won't want to do anything too silly here with a back marker up ahead of him. Keelan Irwin has closed this gap down on the final lap quite considerably, and he darts up the inside. Dan Taylor cruising a bit here on this final lap, might just have to be a bit careful as they head out of Murray's. Keelan Irwin not quite close enough there as they head onto the start-finish straight. Dan Taylor has had absolutely no idea what has just happened on that final lap. Luckily enough for him, he will take the checkered flag, but that was a bit close for comfort. Taylor wins it from Keelan Irwin, who just goes to show you that you can indeed fight till the checkered flag and still maybe get that performance in. He takes second spot. Dan Taylor it is then with the win as he points over towards Keelan Irwin there and mentions something about his bike moving all over the place. Greg Medeiros takes third, wins the stock twins class ahead of Aaron Bradley, Alex Platt and Teo Papadopoulos. Dan Taylor then the winner from Keelan Irwin and Greg Medeiros, and it's Greg Medeiros winning the stock twins ahead of Aaron Bradley and Alex Platt.
Stock twin champion from last year, Super Twins this year, great win.
Yeah, it was a long time coming, wasn't it? Flipping heck. Yeah, new bike. It's taken a hell of a lot of use getting used to. Just suspension. In the dry, it's getting there. In the wet, I'm just struggling. Thankfully, I just trying to keep it smooth in that one. Steady start, just started pulling them back in and took the lead, brought back 4 laps to the end, and back markers was playing a bit of a sod in that one, but hey, we got it in the end, didn't we?
Well, that was a tight run thing, but you got some sponsors?
I have, yeah. I've got a lot of people to help me. The sponsors, Direct Commercials, Shane Brocklehurst Transport, SSP, Bass Tyres. They help me out fantastic. I've got the loyal supporters, shall we say. My dad, he helps me as much as he can with suspension. He puts the bike. I can just ride the thing, and I've just got to get my head sorted with that. The whole family, the Schofields, Molly May, my missus. So yeah, thank you, all of you. Thank you very much.
Greg, fantastic race, winner of the Stocktwins and 3rd place overall, so you're a Supertwin star as well.
I didn't even know I'd got 3rd place over with the Supertwins until right at the end. Just now I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know I got that. But brilliant race in the mini twins. It wasn't easy. There was 3 of us, me, Aaron and Alex, really going for it, and the track conditions, as you know, they were drying out. Me and Aaron chose the wet front, dry rear. Seemed to work out pretty well. We pulled away from the others, and at the end of the race I was able to give it a go and push into it, but across the line it was fingernail close. So luckily I got the drive and managed to win it, so good points for the championship. I'm over the moon with that.
That is superb, mate. And who have you got to thank?
I've got to say a big thank you to my stepdad Ray. He does all the work on my bike for me, so he does a brilliant job of it. My mum and everyone like that, everyone that helps out, anyone that's put anything in, a big thank you for what you've done.
Race 2 for the AVON tyres, Supertwins and HMT Racing Stocktwins here at Snetterton, round 3 of the 2016 championship. It's dried a bit since earlier on. Johnny Towers looked a bit off colour, so maybe here with the sun coming out he might fancy his chances. John Simpson's back as well. John Simpson, number 71, looking to get himself back in the championship frame again. Dan Taylor, the race winner from earlier on, will fancy his chances. There's Greg Madero as well. So the red flag gets walked away, which means that we are ready to start racing here at Snetterton, and away we go. And very, very even from the off there, but it's Keelan Irwin who gets away. Well, he's so good at these starts, and at Snetterton it is Keelan Irwin, the Irish rider, that manages to get himself out in front early doors, ahead of Johnny Towers. There's Dan Taylor trying to make up some time early on as well, underneath Greg Madero. John Simpson's 3rd, Aaron Bradley's 4th, a bit further back there, number 19, we saw Neil Schofield. On board here with RAF rider James Fields. Onto the back straight we go. Nice view of his backside there as we head down in towards Brundle and Nelson. It is 17 Johnny Towers that's managed to get out in front now, so clearly a lot more confident in the dry conditions. Johnny Towers, Keelan Irwin 2nd, John Simpson 3rd, Aaron Bradley 4th, then it's Greg Madero. Further back there, a few contrasting lines from 1 or 2 riders, 98 and 99, Rob Pragnell and Lee Winters. There was 25 as well. That's Stuart Shulchevsky. I'm sure, Stuart, I've probably pronounced that wrong, and so you can collar me for that one. Onto the start-finish stroke we go. 28. There is Teo Papadopoulos, then ahead of 43 Platt. So that should top 8. As the leaders head past the start-finish straight once more. Johnny Towers then on the number 17 Team Edge Racing Kawasaki. Didn't look comfortable earlier at all, but a very different looking character now. He's already down into the 117s, which is very impressive. The rest of the pack in the 18s and 19s. And Johnny Towers here could build an unassailable lead. In second place, it looks like it might be the only battle we can look for at the moment, with Keelan Irwin and Dan Taylor, the riders that fought it out for the win earlier on. Of course, Dan Taylor won the race, but on that final lap, just eased off a little bit too much. It almost became a bit of an embarrassment, but luckily for Dan, he managed to wake up just in time. There's Neil Schofield, number 19. Part of the Schofield clang, of course, and there is Dan Taylor, who's very much part of that clan now, going up the inside of number 69 Keelan Irwin and moving up into second place. These are all important points for the championship. Johnny Towers blasts away then, ticks off another lap, and Keelan Irwin there getting himself up ahead of Dan Taylor once more. There's Taylor then. They've got a bit of company here with John Simpson in on the act as well. We just saw there Jordan Rushby on pit wall cheering on, I think, Aaron Bradley. Good friends off circuit. Jordan Rushby, of course, we just saw a little while ago on the podium in the GB Racing Sportsman Elite 600 race. This the fight for second then. Johnny Towers is already home and dry. Look at him flying around this Snetterton circuit, number 17. And that is his lead as he heads into the bomb hole. Second, third and fourth, only just now exiting Nelson Corner, and Keelan Irwin taking a bit too much exit there at Nelson. John Simpson is now up into fourth place ahead of Dan Taylor, so Dan Taylor for now drops down into fourth place. Sorry, Simpson's up to third. There is Schofield, number 19. So Keelan Irwin, fellow Irish rider just behind him, John Simpson. Then we have number 26, Dan Taylor. Here's Alex Platt and Neil Schofield. They've just switched positions momentarily. Those guys are fighting it out for 8th and 9th place, just up ahead of them. A bit of a lonely one so far for Teo Papadopoulos. And then ahead of him is Greg Medeiros and Aaron Bradley, and then you're looking at the battle for second, third and fourth on your screen now. Dan Taylor back past John Simpson. Could be quite a close championship this, because they are all taking it in turns to win races. Towers lost a chunk of points in that first race earlier on by finishing in 7th, and so there was that opportunity for Taylor and Keelan Irwin to close up. We'll get a glimpse of what the points look like at the end of Snetterton after this race. Towers will not be caught here, and barring any mistakes, he's going to clear off and win this by a considerable amount. There's Greg Medeiros then, number 60. Greg Medeiros trying to chase down Aaron Bradley for the Stocktwins Championship this year, and of course it is Aaron Bradley that leads Greg Medeiros in this race as it stands. There's Medeiros on your screen, number 60, up ahead of 28, Teo Papadopoulos, who at the moment would be on for a podium finish in the Stocktwins ahead of Alex Platt and Neil Schofield. This is the battle for second place outright then, and it's an important one in terms of the championship. Bit of traffic there for these guys to deal with. This will be interesting. Now, how will they cope with that? Oh, Keelan Irwin really trying to squeeze underneath one. Dan Taylor almost capitalised. It didn't quite work out. They've all bunched up a bit, and that might have helped out John Simpson, who just seemed to have fallen back on that last lap. There's your race leader, already through the bomb hole, as second, third and fourth break into Brundle Corner. There's Keelan Irwin, quite a tight approach into Brundle. Dan Taylor's finally found his way through the traffic, and John Simpson has got through as well. John Simpson running out of time though if he wants to get himself on the top two steps. Onto the start-finish straight we go. Johnny Towers then getting himself tucked in. You wouldn't think that he'd got a huge lead. He's still putting in the efforts here, and he's just put in the fastest lap of the race, so still working overtime out front. This is the fight for second place on the final lap then. Irwin, Taylor and Simpson. Simpson has got a lot of catching up to do there from fourth place, and unless these two really make a mess of things, Simpson's going to struggle to find the podium. What will happen here between Dan Taylor and Keelan Owen then? Into Montreal, the first overtaking opportunity, or arguably the second after Ritchie's, has gone. Keelan Owen there, almost sitting up a bit mid-corner, and that might just help him out. On the back straight we go. Not a lot to split them in terms of outright speed, as Johnny Towers gets on with the business of winning this race. Down the back straight, Dan Taylor not close enough here to make a move, but there's some traffic up ahead. In fact, the traffic up ahead is Dan Taylor's trusty old mate, Lee Winters, the lion tamer. I wonder if he'll have a look over his shoulder and give his pal some help. Around the bomb hole we go, and these guys have got to find their way past the back markers. Johnny Towers, in the meantime, what a fine display this has been from the Team Edge RST rider. He cruises across the line. A mammoth victory there for Johnny Towers, but who will take second place? We look and we look and we wait and we wait, and it will be Keelan Owen that holds on to second place then in the end, ahead of Dan Taylor. John Simpson misses out on a podium, finishing fourth. Aaron Bradley is fifth and wins the Stocktwins to extend his championship lead ahead of Greg Medeiros. Top three then, Johnny Towers, centre of the picture with Keelan Owen on the left and Dan Taylor on the right in the Stocktwins. Aaron Bradley the winner from Greg Medeiros and Theo Papadopoulos. And now let's look at the championship points. Johnny Towers still in charge, but there's a long way to go in this season. Taylor, Owen and Simpson could all close that down. Aaron Bradley there in fifth and leads the Stocktwins ahead of Greg Medeiros. Jason Markham is third. Then it's Matt Dixon, Theo Papadopoulos and Ben Tolliday.
Aaron, winner today again on TV Day. You pulled the same stunt as you did before.
Yeah, it's just getting the consistency really. Like last year, obviously, I had quite a few crashes. So it's getting on the ride, just getting points really. If you're leading the championship, it's just finish every race and try and build on the championship lead. But obviously, race wins always help, don't they? So,
well, absolutely. Snetterton's a bit tougher than a lot of people think, of course. Have you got some sponsors to thank?
Yeah, I've got RTR, Dan Hegarty, who's helped me out massively to get my bike up and running for Snetterton. Without him, I wouldn't have been here. So a massive thank you to Dan Hegarty. Mum and Dad for all the help they give me. Just everyone that's helped me really get me here, and everyone at Thundersport, all the marshals, Bernadette, Dave, just everyone, the whole team really. So yeah.
Well, Johnny, earlier on it was difficult conditions and you couldn't mimic this incredible lead that you got today like you did yesterday, but great race to this.
It was, the conditions were more difficult today. This morning was incredibly challenging. We were first race out, didn't know if it was wet or dry, and I went for wets, which was a bad call, but managed to salve some points, get round, and then the second race, with it being dry, I just said I need to get stuck in and just really, and I had a really good ride. Ali Grant as well. I'm like a broken record. He's given me a really good bike again this weekend. It worked really well. And the other thing I want to say is my daughter Alice at home has been baking for me today. So when I get home, she said if I win, I'll get some cakes. So Alice, I hope she's getting the cakes ready. Thanks very much.
The Great British Bake Off. Well done.
Bake Off, yeah. Her hero's Mary Berry. So yeah, she's good. She's really good.
Excellent. Well done, Johnny.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's it from us here at Snetterton then. Round 3 done and dusted. Round 4, well, you'll have to join us for that one. It's Cadwell Park up next.